A question I get asked every single week is how much money do you make gold prospecting? And truthfully, I don't know. I give a lot of my gold away.
Not only is a black sand chunky, there's gold in it.
Some of it I save, and some of it I turn into gifts.
That is one serious looking play bow there, Fern. Get him. Get him!
Rarely do I sell it. And so this week, I thought I would set about doing 5 days of different types of gold prospecting to see how much gold I could accumulate over a set amount of hours. Let's find out how much gold I can mine in a single week.
Every single week I go prospecting and make videos, I get asked one question above all else, and that is, how much money do you make? That's a microphone, so you can hear me. Now, besides this being an obviously quite rude question...
What did he say?
I don't make my living off the gold, I make my living on YouTube. But the question becomes, if I was to dedicate myself full time to gold prospecting as an amateur with a pan, how much gold could I recover in the northeast of Victoria? How much money would I be left with at the end of the week? And Gadsy is going to be very impressed by this because I just literally dug some sand up. I'm not even joking, like literally sand out of that.
You want a camera battle again?
So just out of sand, look at it all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been getting up there.
So all those specks are just out of the top sands. That is a really good result for literally digging in sand. So I think I'm going to work here for the day, or at least poke around this area and see how much gold I end up with. Do I have a snuffer butter? Yes. Hello. Okay, here we go.
With 5 days set aside for gold prospecting, the first stage is identifying gold deposits that we can spend our time working. No gold deposit lasts forever. What we're looking for is a gold deposit that's large enough to carry us through the entire week. You can get hot little pay streaks that are very rich that only last for a short amount of time. We're looking for something more substantial. That doesn't necessarily mean the highest spec count.
Mining is not the most efficient way to collect gold, so if you were trying to make a living on the gold fields, you would not be using a pan unless you're in some very specific areas. It's kind of hard to get the point across that it's not the skill of the prospector, it's the ground that you're on. You can be the most skilled prospector in the world, but if you're on terrible ground, you're never going to make enough money to live like what would be considered an affluent life. Whereas people like Paulie and Dan Hurd, who are on really rich ground, could potentially make a decent living from the gold they find on their ground.
Aluminum. Not what we're looking for.
I dug about another foot deeper into the gravel because theoretically speaking, if no one's touched this gravel bar in a while, there should be a better pay layer down deep. Sometimes that's not the case. It really does seem to depend on how long the water's been flowing over the area as to how much gold is in the pan ultimately. The moment of truth, was it deeper or was it higher? I've got a couple of flakes. Ah, it's higher. All right. So the good thing is, even though there's only a few pieces of gold in this pan, we now know without a shadow of a doubt that we can just work the top gravels and get good gold. Now, if you are thinking about picking up prospecting as a little bit of a job or a side income, it's always a good idea to have someone else to search for the gold for you.
What are you saying?
Well, what am I saying? Well, I thought I did good from my sand, but your sand looks a little tastier.
It's good.
Mate, there must be at least 4 or 5 specks in there.
Yeah, I'd say. Maybe a few.
Maybe even 6.
It's just glitter.
It's just glitter?
It's not real gold.
All right, Mr. Sweatpants. Let's see what this spot's got. Okay, I reckon right on the edge here. So one of the tricks we use to locate good gold is erosion, and what we're doing is right now this is in the middle of a big deep erosion bowl. Anytime there's erosion and it's in an area where there's gold, there's a really good chance that it's washed away the light soils and left behind the heavy black sands and the gold for you.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Gadsy's saying that you can tell when you're about to get a good pan here. I'm guessing there's going to be a fair amount of black sand and gold at the back of it. Ooh, he's not wrong. That's some black sand right there. What are you doing in me pond? What are you doing in me pond? Stop playing in me mud.
I'm playing with your mud.
The moment of truth. I've got a lot of black sand in my pan right. Oh my god, yeah, there's good gold here, Gadsy. Wow. That is a solid little result for one pan, 2 shovels. In my time prospecting, I've learned that a spec count like that run through a high banker will yield maybe 1 to 1.5 grams in about 4 hours. In other words, that'd be about $100 to $150 for 4 hours work on that kind of grade gold. Absolutely worth shovel docking Gadsy for this. And if you could just stick around for more than 30 seconds, I would appreciate it. I got no food for you. Erosion like this will often push gravel and gold. And when it pushes it and leaves behind the black sand and gold, it's going to create what's called a teardrop. So there's going to be a pocket of gold that's relatively rich, and then it should thin out. And that little thin bit coming out this way somewhere should be our rich section. But what would I know? I'm a YouTuber.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich chef Ram.
Ooh, I got good gold at the back of the pan. Wow! I have half a pan of material left and I've got gold all over the back of the pan. It's literally along the whole edge of the dirt. Normally when you get gold like that at the back of your pan when you're not even halfway down, it's going to be a good one. Alright, we're going to get that stratified properly because I do not want to lose the gold at the back. It's really important when you've got good pans like that to only wash the dirt off the front half of your pile. Oh, it's a creek egg. Oh, if that ends up in your face, you'll have an alien burst out of your chest.
It's a Reedy mon.
Reedy mon! Look at the gold coming out the top there. There's so much dense black sand. Oh! Yep. That is nice. That is easily 50 pieces in this pan. These gobble guts ain't going to go hungry today. Nom, 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 nom. Yeah. Fernie, every single pan out of the clay at this spot is giving us mad spec counts. And not only gold, we're also getting some very tiny gemstones, which is kind of cool.
Finding a little bit of gold is relatively easy. Finding a deposit large enough to work all week is another thing entirely. You need to prove your ground. Is it worth bringing in extra equipment or just sticking with pans?
Look at the gold.
I know, it's looking pretty good.
Man!
What was that?
Where was that from?
That was just behind that rock over there.
That rock?
Yeah, I got a bit more of that clay. Look at that.
Whoa! Yeah! We might be eaten by the end of the week.
I can get a new dress.
Fern, I know I've been telling you to like stick around here, but did you really have to do Gadsy dirty?
Buried my snuffer bottle. Poor Snuffy.
She was trying to make a buried pirate treasure.
That Snuffy's all dirty now.
And as we continue to test the area, we're starting to see that we might be onto a really good spot. Because the gold wasn't just consistent with every pan, it was from the very top soils all the way to the clay at the bottom.
I've come a ways from the deposit and I was like, what's under the sand? And it turns out there is premium and many Italian hand golds down there. So we're going to take another pan. Well, not of this top stuff. We're not about the top stuff.
Maybe that's a bushfire layer.
I think it is because there's a lot of charcoal in it. But look at that orange clay.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. This coloured clay and sand on Reedy Creek has always been very favourable to us. The last pan I did was quite good. There's no sticky clay in this, but the density of the sand and whatnot lends itself to being able to stop gold for a time. And because there's not a lot of water running over this, obviously the gold is settling out here somewhere. The last pan I did from that exact same layer had probably 50 to 60 pieces and a couple of really nice flakes. No, on my luck, there's not going to be any gold in this. I can see one gold's just there. So that's good. Huh. Yes, but no. Comparatively, there's barely any in there.
Maybe it's a bit more shallow.
Let me have an explore and we'll be right back. Gold prospecting is not an exact science. You can literally be off it by centimeters and never know, and that's why you got to go back and do more and more testing.
In the time that I've been doing gold prospecting, I've met many people who have used it as a platform to restart their life, to get enough funds behind them to have a go at something else.
Already this pan is starting to look a lot better. We've got gold coming out in the corner. And for everyone who asks, yes, there is a corner in a gold pan. I understand that this is a circle, but that right there is a corner.
And so that's what we're looking for. Not to hit a bonanza where you can make a full-time living off it, but enough to start you again.
Gadsy did the due diligence and checked the grey sands above my orange layer, and yeah,
it's looking good.
yep, that's not nothing.
No, that's a bushfire layer.
Let's compare that to the orange clay layer. Compare the pair. Same pan, same bad back. Oh yeah, it's still pretty good. That's still not bad.
That's a little bit more.
It's even at the very least. The one thing we can agree on,
There's gold there.
there's gold there, and we both saved heaps on our insurance policies.
Yeah.
Compare the pair. Same age, same super fund.
Same, yeah,
Super. Not insurance. Let's take a moment to talk about this. Gold prospecting for a living is hard. Specs that size are worth between 1 and 2 US cents each. So I have maybe 30 to 50 Australian cents in my pan. And one of these pans takes me about 3 minutes to complete from the time that I dig it out of the ground, classify it, and pan it down to this amount of concentrates. At this rate, that's about $20 an hour. And make no mistake, digging all day and panning is hard, laborious work. So the concept for this video is not to make a fortune. We're not doing Parker Schnobel out in the Yukon. We're talking about Chris here on Reedy Creek. And Senior Sweatpants, also here on Reedy Creek.
We're better than Parker anyway.
Yeah, absolutely we're better than Parker.
I'm not angry at everything. I'm not making enough money.
And that is the thing that I love about gold prospecting, because whilst it's not about making your fortune, I have met so many people living out on the creek or just starting again and able to make a livable income off the gold that they dig out of these soils. Sure, for the most part, that means that most of them are either living in their car or in a tent, but it gives you an opportunity to earn tax-free money right out of the ground, and you are directly rewarded for the effort that you put in. That is a deep hole. That is a proper deep hole. We're talking more than half a shovel length down. And I've been getting gold the whole way. And I finally hit the clay layer at the bottom. For all intents and purposes, it looks like Gadsy found a really good spot. A lot of gravel with a lot of gold. Whoo! That's not bad.
Yeah.
We've only been here for a couple of hours.
It's mixed with another day's stuff, but the other day was pretty poor, so.
Off the clay layer, hopefully there's still a decent spec count, because if there is, man, this deposit is huge. Oh yeah, we got gold. Yep, we still have gold, and we are several meters away from where Gadsy first hit it. That's still a fantastic take. Again, it's like a 30-cent pan right there. I got about the same amount of gold as what Senior Sweatpants got. So I'm thinking we're going to have to make a return trip here this week. This is where we'll hopefully start adding up the dollar value of the gold.
Years later. Since the last day we went out, it has been non-stop rain. Look at this miserable crap. Both Gadsy and I are desperate to get out. We haven't been out for an entire week since that last day, and I want to make this video. I want to see how much gold I can collect, and in doing that, I want to use a rocker box. Now, I know it's not the most efficient way of collecting gold, but it is fun, and it's also very cheap. And I'm going with the ideology here that if you were trying to make a living from gold, you're probably not in the best financial situation, so you wouldn't have a lot of money to invest in equipment. And a rocker box you can make from scrap wood and carpet. That's literally a broom handle, and like all of this is just reclaimed timber that we found. I mean, look at my scoop. It's a piece of PVC with a bucket attached to the end. Now, I have been running with great success some AstroTurf in the rocker box as its main mat catching system, and it works well. But I've had this piece of old carpet lying around forever, and I thought, to keep in the sort of spirit of being cheap, we're going to put the piece of carpet in, because you can pick this stuff up usually out the front of any carpet supply store. I drive past carpet supply places and they've got all the old moldy carpet. They just throw it out the front, in front of the dumpster. So if you want sluice box matting for free, just go to a carpet place. You know what they say, don't take any measurements, cut 15 times, swear a lot, and eventually jam it in and hope for the best. Look at that, like a glove.
You might be able to tell it's been raining from the abundance of water in our hole. If I was Parker Schnobel, I'd have an 8-inch water pump in there all night and it would cost me 100 grand to drain it.
Oh, the drain.
I would have had better odds just going to Vegas with all the money.
But I am merely a Vo-Gus, so we are limited to not doing anything about this and just trying to dig the dirt out of that watery hole. I'm going to use my giant blue bucket here to collect pay dirt gravels from over in our swimming pool. And I don't need to classify them because my rocker box has a piece of tin that I've punched a whole bunch of holes into.
Look at that professional hole punching.
I did that with the tip of my prick. I was about to say prick. I did that with the tip of my pick.
For those of you who don't know how a rocker box works, you put your gravel in the top, you fill your ladle with water, you pour the ladle of water over your dirt.
As you're pouring, you rock the box side to side. That makes all the dirt fall down through the holes and into your hopper.
The dirt first falls onto this, which is called an apron. This is your primary catch zone for gold. The rest of the slurry falls down the bottom and runs down a very basic sluice box mat.
Compared to a high banker, these are nowhere near as efficient, but compared to panning, they are actually quicker. This can do about twice the amount of pans you could do if you were just doing a pan manually. So overall, you save more energy and you're a bit more efficient. It means ultimately you process more dirt. Mega shovel! You are going to move like all of the pay dirt today.
Mega shovel! Meanwhile, I was relegated to my disappointingly standard sized shovel, which took forever to fill my bright green bucket.
That's it, Gadsy. That's it. No! Come and get me, Parker! It's my shovel now. Oh my god! You can move so much dirt with this thing! What? I'm buying a
Double the size.
I'm buying a mega shovel. Oh, good work. Oh, thank you.
Tiny shovel. Often when I make videos on using a rocker box, the first question people ask is why don't I automate the rocker box? I could create a pump delivery system for the water or even an automatic rocker, but that would take the fun and enjoyment out of using such a simple gold prospecting tool. If I really wanted to automate it, I would simply bring out a high banker, which is far more efficient and basically what this thing would become if you added a pump system or an automatic rocker to it. Yeet. The side-to-side rocking action that happens is what settles the gold into the matting. So I'm not worried about this stuff going off because like a pan, we're stratifying the material as it runs down the run. First bucket done. It only took a couple of minutes. It's really good to have some clean gravel to process. Sometimes you'll see little bits of gold and stuff sitting up in this mat, but usually this type of matting, it buries itself really deep, so you just don't get to see that many. GoPro dog, how are you doing?
Fern, what are you doing? Watching? You. Go, go.
In a few more buckets, I'm going to expect to see a lot more gold and black sand sitting in this matting. But you never know, maybe this matting's terrible and I'm losing lots of gold at the end.
'Tis the risk we take, Gadsy.
Like back.
Old man back.
Oh man, back.
We need a shirt for that. Old man buck.
Old man back.
Old man buck.
Old man back.
Part of the reason I chose to use a rocker box is because of this gravel. There's really not that much clay in it, and rocker boxes work best in clay-free gravel. That's why back in the day, the old school miners would have puddling tubs. Tubs like this, where they would keep adding fresh water to it and mixing the gravel up to concentrate the gold on the bottom of the tub and remove all the light material and clay. And then at the end of the day, when they had a full tub, they'd have one full tub of wash, they would run it through their rocker box because it would be the highest concentration of gold with the least amount of clay. Mr. Sandman, bum 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 bum, bring me a dream, bum 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 bum, take me to places that I've never seen. Render, shovel. Oh God. Gazzy's first bucket is done. He got an okay amount of gold in there and he's just trying to snuffer it up.
Not snuffering.
It's not snuffering.
Why is it not snuffering?
Why is it not snuffering? Well,
I'm using Bob. He's got a gunshot.
why is there a hole in your snuffer bottle? Is that been eaten? Is that a mouse?
Maybe.
See what we're going to deal with out here? These conditions are atrocious. Rat plague.
Rat plagues, giant rats.
Rats eating stuffer bottles, giant wombats eating humans.
Yeah.
My second bucket is all finished and this is working really well. Normally you would have a series of wooden riffles across this, but I've got to reinstall them, and for now I'm just using a piece of mesh with one wooden riffle at the end. It's working surprisingly well. Look at the amount of black sand that's being caught in the top apron. Normally this washes out because there's a lot of water being dumped on top of it from me classifying the material through the hopper, but it looks good. There's even a little piece of gold just there. Look at that. Next yellow bucket. It's so light. Oh, CrossFit eat heart out. Ugh. The prospectus paranoia has kicked in. Heaps of black sand in the apron at the top, and I am yet to see any sort of significant gold cluster. And I just want to make sure that there is a little bit in the dirt that I'm processing. It's one small scoop out of a very tiny pan, so I'm not expecting a huge speck count, but hopefully there's a little bit, right? Oh, there's plenty. One scoop, one tiny shovel. Wow. All right, job's on. Third bucket done, and finally some gold. It's not very big, but it counts. Oh, and there's another bit, and another bit down in there. Yeah. Oh, it's good to see gold. It's one of the hardest things about doing something like a rocker box or a high bank. You do all this work and all this digging, you don't know if you're getting any. The thing about this particular spot is there is so much gravel here with a good amount of gold in it. This is going to take us literally weeks to work if we come out here consistently. One of these pans holds like 30 or 40 specks in this spot, and there's no clay. So all of this gravel is super quick and easy to work. And that means we're getting about 40 to 50 cents of gold per pan. One of these buckets holds a whole bunch of pans. I think when we did the maths, it works out to be about 20. So in theory, there is about 10 bucks worth of gold in every one of these buckets. But that's all conjecture because the proof is ultimately in the clean out.
We should have brought the high banker out. Then we could have probably got more.
Yeah, but that's so boring. You have to listen to... At least this thing has like an authentic feel to it, right? Like I processed a fair amount of dirt. I'm seeing gold. There's black sand down here. Actually, holy Jesus, is there black sand. Can you see that dark line running through the middle of the mat? That's all tin. Fernie, you didn't tell me there was some prime real estate out here. Look at that. Wow. It's a one better on the gold fields. Look at that brand new exterior. It's definitely a master builder's home. You can see we have luxury grass on the interior. And if you get hungry, you can always burn your house to cook a kangaroo. And only the premiumest bark was used to keep you out of the rain, mostly. All of this and more could be yours for the low, low price of just $1.8 million. Contact realestate.com.au today to get your hands on this wooden prize. Couple of buckets you worked, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
Considering that we are currently like flooded out
Yeah.
and we can't get to the center pay streak, you got to be happy with that. I just spotted a really nice piece of jasper. Look at that, sitting in the hopper. There's so many gemstones here. Gazzy's found heaps, I've found a few. Nice, put that with the collection. It took 2.5 hours to move 240 litres or 6 buckets worth of material. And considering that this mat actually started out as green carpet, it's black now. Oh, we've got gold. Look at that pocket. I haven't seen gold like that since the beginning. I ran a few flushing runs through it just to clear out some of the loose gravel. So it's good to see we've got lots and lots of gold up here. Wow. Oh, it's all through it. That's wicked. My guesstimation was that there was about $10 worth of gold every bucket. Look, I'm probably being on the generous side, maybe $5 of gold in every bucket. We'll find out. So if we get about half a gram, that'd mean that we're about 50 bucks for the day or $10 a bucket. If we get a little bit less than that, well, we'll work out the maths when we come to it. I love using expensive microphone and camera equipment out in the rain.
Yeah, it's great.
It's the best.
That's what you should do. Electricity,
Water,
all
mud,
those things,
dirt.
They mix well.
That's the only gap, and I can't get a grip on it. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, the Save Your Crevice tool. Also known as the sluice mat remover now. In theory. Yay! Look at that. All I've wanted to see all day is gold up here, and I've got a little piece just there. This black sand is going to be very dense and very hard to clean up on the creek, so I'm just going to put it in my bucket and take it home. Leroy! Oh, that was almost a disaster. Oh, we saved it, we saved it, we saved it. Woo!
Leroy Jenkins is a big humor.
Yeah, well, you meant to scream Leroy Jenkins when you're doing something dumb, right? I'm not even going to try to clean this up. I just want to see if we can see any gold. I can see lots of gold. I just want to see some of the gold. So we've got to get rid of the blonde sands. Obviously, this is just a look at what was in the top apron. We'll do a proper clean out once I finish the week's worth of prospecting. But there is gold all through this. Man, that top apron does such a good job in the rocker box. Oh, that's just the top apron. That's not even including what's going to be in the sluice mat. Damn, boy. Rocker boxes be legit. That's bloody good. That is a bloody good day out with the rocker box. Hell yeah. Alright, I'm going to try and shake this out a little bit into my bucket before I go home, because it's much easier to get large quantities of water on the creek than it is out of your tap. So I obviously only worked for about 2.5 hours, with setup maybe 3. If you're out here trying to make a living, you would obviously go for as long as you could, but we're going to extrapolate. I'm going to go real casual. We'll see what happens by the end of the week. Maybe I'll get motivated. Maybe there'll be a ton of gold in this and I'll be like, yes, we need to go back immediately.
Woke up with a serious case of old man back today because of, well, this. My ladle handle's a little stumpy, so we're going to spud engineer it a little bit. Oh, yeah.
Look, it's not pretty, but it's going to work. There is nothing that duct tape and cable ties can't fix. And if you can't fix it with those items, it's broken and you should probably buy a new one.
I don't make the rules, I just follow them.
The first rule about duct tape is there is no such thing as too much duct tape. There's really only so much of the same sort of stuff that I want to show you guys when it comes to the rocker box. What I really need to get across is that no gold deposit, no matter how big, lasts forever.
As part of this short series, I want to show you that no gold deposit lasts forever. This is the reality. You spend most of the time looking for gold and very little of your time actually working it. And one thing that allows me to work gold as often as I do is my channel members and my patrons. I want to say a massive thank you to every single person who has jumped on board over the years, especially considering the ups and downs we've had, both through COVID-19 as well as economic recessions. Your contributions do not go unnoticed. All of the funds that are raised through my Patreon and channel memberships get directly reinvested in the channel. This allows me to travel to do the gold, upkeep car maintenance, as well as equipment maintenance, all which takes an absolute pounding out on the Australian goldfields. Thank you so much, and if you're considering joining, links are in the description below.
First random pan, let the test panning begin. One little nano. A tree root system cutting straight across the creek is a really good place to check. Waddle in there, Sir Gadsden. I just got some pretty decent gold in my first test pan from sand out of this spot, so I'll be curious to see what sweatpants gets. Yeah, that's about the same as me. I got a few little flaky bits, but there's a decent speck count in there, isn't there? I took my pan out of just there where there's a little drop off, and I got some really decent black sand along with a whole bunch of ultra fine flood gold. Look at that. I might actually keep these ones. Thank you all very much, Creek. Of course, it just starts to rain and Gadsy looks down at his feet and goes, oh my god, look at that. Those are Gadsy's feet. And this is what they spotted. Just behind the root ball. Look at the amount of black sand sitting on the surface. Wow, that root has been collecting all the heavies. And considering that was just off the top, that is a lot of black sand and even a few little flakies of gold. Well, we just solved where the gold was coming from. This is the conglomerate that feeds Reedy Creek all of its gold. So you can see here we've got river gravels in what looks to be cement, but this is not man-made. This is about 2.6 million years old. And here's the thing, a lot of people think that the lode deposits were never found for Reedy Creek, but Reedy Creek doesn't have any lode deposits. What it has is this conglomerate, which is made up of a very ancient mountain that eroded a long time ago. So every single time it rains, the conglomerate erodes a little bit and it deposits more gold into the creek. And we like conglomerate because conglomerate is the thing that sheds the gold. So if you can find conglomerate near the creek, often you'll find some gold. Gadsy, did you find it?
I found Narnia.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, boy! Yeah!
I don't have my stuffer bottle.
I do!
Yeah, but it goes to you.
Right, we know where the gold is now. We've got another deposit to come to. Let's go back to the rocker box. I wash my rocks with a spoon on a stick. Yesterday I came over here and pulled out a small smoky quartz crystal from Gadsy's pan.
Funny.
Yep. I spotted it and Gadsy was like, oh cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. Now today Gadsy's come over to my bucket while I've been digging out some pay dirt for my rocker box and pulled this smoky quartz. That's a smoky quartz. It's obviously been to hell and back. I don't know how to describe this, but you can actually see clear through that when you look at it in the sun. I just can't get it on camera right now. You can even see where a crystal was sitting hard up against it. That's the biggest piece of smoky quartz I've ever found in my life. Look, you can see through it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You can see clear through it.
That's massive.
That is the biggest smoky ever. I don't care how much gold I found today. That's the find. That's the find.
That weighs like about
a couple of kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is definitely the best angle This part's less smashed than the rest of it. You can see up in it. We'll look at this at home under some proper light, but wow.
The first 3 days of my prospecting adventure had been challenging yet rewarding. I spent the rest of my afternoon processing 7 more buckets of pay. And in the end, the mats looked just as good as the first rocker box session.
Oh, the weather got bad. The weather got really bad. I've been live streaming for probably over an hour, and you can watch that up on Facebook if you want to catch up with what happened during that time. But we just started doing the cleanup because we've got to get out of here. I've already pulled the top mats, and as you can see, the bottom mats are riddled with black sand. So you know there's probably going to be a decent show of gold in this bottom mat when I clean it out at home. Even though we don't know what's in that bottom mat, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good because this is what we managed to pull out of the top apron. The top apron had a whole bunch of gold in it. Look at that. It's all through it. Thousands of specks. But we ain't got time for that, Gadsy. We gotta go home. The main mat is looking so good. There's a really dense pocket of black sand right in the middle. So obviously this is where the velocity slowed down enough for the majority of that heavy to drop out. But what I'm loving is seeing pieces of gold stuck right at the top. I got a piece there. I got a little pocket of gold right here. In fact, everywhere I look up this end, there are pieces of gold. That's wicked. This particular riffle has gold all through it. It's hard to see on camera, but these tiny little pieces here just go all the way up.
And for the last 2 days, I'm going to switch gears. I'm taking a metal detector to Victoria's historic goldfields to try and find nuggets, as well as hard rock ore samples to see if I can find the mother lode.
5 inches of soil there.
And then when it's all said and done, I'll be doing the cleanup to find out how much gold I could find in just 5 days. If you don't want to miss that, consider hitting subscribe, turning on all notifications, and I'll see you in the next feature-length episode.
I mean, at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is come down here and find something that I was not meant to find.